Hello! The NNPC now has a new tape with which to measure what and how the corporation does what it does going forward, courtesy of the ingenuity of the GMD, Malam Mele Kyari. It's a tip like no other and was espoused at the town hall meeting held with this immediate constituency, the NNPC family. The gas pipeline bilateral agreement gets Moroccan pledge, even as Indonesia's Pertamina shows interest in crude oil export volume, and three other stories having to do with money: funding it, expending it, and gaining it for OML 13, funding, expending it for FARC remittances, and gaining it from trading. All will be in the details. Plus, profiling clip on OPEC's Secretary General, Dr. Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo of Nigeria. Thanks for joining us. I'm Akin Agbijule. This is All on Gas Forum.
It's very, very wonderful because he knows everything. Nobody can cheat him. Nobody. He knows everything about an NPC. Yeah, because he ran from the bottom and up from the top one. I think an NPC will very, very, very strong and good by his leadership.
As a beneficiary of the funds that NNPC disbursed as part of this competition, I can definitely say that it has been a very positive contributor to my life. I think that I was able to afford university, I was able to pay for books because I was a part of this competition, and it inspired me to continue to work hard in my chosen endeavor.
NNPC, we touch your lives in many positive ways.
Let's check out the details, shall we? GMD of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, envisions transforming the corporation into a global energy company of excellence driven by tape. Wait for the details. NNPC and Budget Office strategize even as the corporation expresses commitment to prompt FARC remittances. Morocco and Indonesia's Pertamina are looking at investment and commitment to gas pipeline packed delivery and crude oil sales. $3.15 billion financing secured for OML 13. And how did trading go for NNPC in May 2019? We got the details. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and the Kingdom of Morocco have pledged to deliver on the gas pipeline bilateral agreement between Nigeria and the North African nation in record time. This was made known by the Group Managing Director of the corporation, Malam Mele Kyari, while receiving the Moroccan ambassador to Nigeria, His Excellency Moaou Ali Tagma, at the NNPC Towers. It would be recalled that during separate state visits, Morocco's King Mohammed VI had in December 2016 visited Nigeria, while in June 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari reciprocated the gesture, which saw both leaders signing a number of memoranda of understanding, MOUs. Speaking on the development, Kyari told the visiting ambassador that the NNPC was fully aligned with the terms of the MOU and committed to delivering them on time for the benefit of their respective citizens.
We're completely aligned with the memorandum of understanding signed between our two governments, and we'll take it forward. We'll progress it to its ultimate end, which is to make sure that those terms, particularly those of them that have to do with the oil and gas industry, are delivered within record time.
Earlier in his remarks, Ambassador Tagma congratulated the GMD on his recent appointment and wished him success during his tenure.
The two countries have signed some agreements, of course, for prosperity and for a win-win relationship, especially in the pipeline, which is a very important project between Nigeria and Morocco.
The Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, has expressed confidence in the ability of the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, to steer the national oil company to enviable heights. The NGE, in a congratulatory letter to the GMD signed by its president, Mrs. Funke Egbemode, also extended profound appreciation to the federal government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari for considering Kyari worthy of the position. The NGE noted that as a thoroughbred professional and highly respected person, the Guild was doubly sure Kyari would continue to work assiduously, efficiently and tirelessly in that capacity to further develop the Nigerian oil industry and revamp the nation's refineries for local production of petroleum products.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation is set to leverage on the existing direct sale, direct purchase product supply arrangement to guarantee energy security for the nation. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, made this commitment at his maiden town hall meeting with staff of the corporation at the NNPC Towers. He assured that his management would continue with the current efforts to revamp downstream infrastructure to ensure 90% pipeline availability, automation of processes in product distribution system, and growth in NNPC retail's market share to 30%.
And therefore, we'll also focus on expanding our frontier exploration activities in the Gongola Basin, in the Bida Basin, Sokoto Basin, the Anambra platform, and the Chad Basin.
The high point of the meeting was the presentation of his agenda entitled Roadmap to Global Excellence, which encapsulates the strategic focus of his management. Under the roadmap, NNPC operations under the new management will be anchored on transparency, accountability, and performance excellence, TAPE.
Our transparency index has risen. Our balance sheet has changed, but there are significant changes that has happened in the last 3 years. We have put processes that are working. This, no doubt, has put us in a position of easy right to changing this company to a global company of excellence.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has indicated interest in working with the Indonesian national oil company Pertamina to improve on the volume of crude oil export. Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, disclosed this while receiving the Indonesian ambassador to Nigeria, His Excellency Dr. Usra Hendra Harahap, at the NNPC Towers. Mele Kyari said NNPC was ready to renew the trade contract with the Republic of Indonesia, which expired last year, and directed the relevant arm of the corporation to work out modalities to ensure a better deal for the benefit of both countries.
And therefore, we see in this an opportunity to find home for Nigerian crude, and that is why I have asked my colleagues in NNPC Trading to engage Pertamina so that they can have a commercial relationship to enable continued transaction between Pertamina, or in that case Indonesia and Nigeria.
Earlier in his presentation, the Indonesian ambassador, His Excellency Dr. Usra Hendra Harahap, noted that Indonesia has a long history of mutual relationship with Nigeria and was ready to improve on its $2.5 billion trade balance with the country.
Indonesia has already a long time cooperated with Nigeria regarding to trade oil, crude oil, especially the crude oil.
As part of efforts to grow local refining capacity, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has called for collaboration with Chevron Nigeria Limited to establish a condensate splinter refinery. The appeal was made by the Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, when the management of Chevron Nigeria Limited, CNL, was led by its Managing Director, Jeff Ewing, on a business visit to the NNPC Towers, Abuja.
We hold Chevron in very high esteem for two reasons. One is that they're one of the most efficient partners that we have, but in terms of meeting production targets and including even cost optimization. So we're almost like a model for us when we look at our relationship with our partners.
Speaking earlier, Managing Director of CNL, Mr. Jeff Ewing, said his company was prepared to work with the new management of NNPC to grow production.
On future growth and cost optimization, so I think that's an opportunity for us to work together and make sure that we can be cost competitive.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has promised to work closely with ENI Agip to speedily resolve all pending issues that led to the suspension of cash call repayment. The Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, made the commitment during a business visit by delegation from ENI Agip, led by the Executive Vice Chairman, Sub-Saharan African Region, and Chairman ENI Exploration and Production in Nigeria, Mr. Brusco Guido. The GMD explained that the failure to pay cash call arrears in the last 3 months was deliberate and meant to ensure that the issues surrounding the agreement settled.
I believe that as soon as we close this deal by the end of this week, all your money is safe. We have all the cash, the settlement agreement that we have in place, we'll stick to it.
Speaking earlier, Executive Vice Chairman Sub-Saharan African Region and Chairman ENI Exploration and Production in Nigeria, Mr. Brusco Guido, said the company was fully aligned with the GMD's 3-point agenda of growing reserves, growing production, and cutting costs.
The future objectives, which are growth of production, increase reserves, and lower the cost structure, which we share, we support, and you will always have NAOC JV at your side to support that.
The quest by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) to increase the nation's daily crude oil production to 3 million barrels per day has received a major boost with the signing of a $3.15 billion financing and technical services agreement between Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Production Company Limited (CIPCO) and the Exploration and Production arm of NNPC, the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company (NPDC), for the development of oil mining lease OML 13. Speaking at the agreement signing ceremony, the Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, who was represented by the Chief Operating Officer upstream, Mr. Roland Ewubare, expressed gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, for approving the transaction, adding that OML 13 held strong potentials both for the petroleum industry and the nation's economy.
National aspiration is to attain 3 million barrels of oil as soon as we can, and to also begin to deepen our gas resources and move them towards production.
Also speaking at the occasion, Chairman of Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Production Company Limited, Mr. Tony Chukwueke, expressed delight at the opportunity offered the company to support the production growth aspiration of the federal government.
I am optimistic and looking forward to its delivering and making sure that the Eastern Pipeline that's supposed to take gas from the south to the north becomes a reality.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) and the Budget Office of the Federation have commenced extensive round-robin stakeholder engagement designed to keep effective coordination of the 2020-2022 medium-term fiscal framework. The meeting, which teed off at the NNPC Towers, had in attendance the Group Managing Director of the corporation, Malam Mele Kyari, and his top management team in parallel with the Budget Office of the Federation, led by the Director General, Mr. Ben Akwabueze, and his team. Malam Kyari said the party marked the beginning of an extensive collaboration with the Budget Office to harmonize strategies geared towards ensuring optimization of resources aimed at improving the corporation's revenue generation ability.
Everything we are doing today is to make sure that we create more activities in the oil and gas industry. We create so that production will rise, so that cost will also come down.
Earlier in his address, Mr. Akwabueze said it was important to meet with the NNPC management at top level to drill down on all issues and possible fiscal scenarios ahead of the 2020-2023 budgetary framework.
As we make progress on the preparation of the medium-term 2020 to 2022 fiscal framework and fiscal strategy, we must have this sort of engagement.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has restated its commitment to the prompt payment of proceeds from its operations to the Federation account and steady supply of petroleum products to Nigerians. This was disclosed by the Chief Financial Officer, CFO of the corporation, Mr. Umar Ajia, at a strategy session with heads of account departments of the corporation's subsidiaries in Abuja as part of the initiative to rally the corporation's business leaders in support of the new management's agenda.
We have to pay what is attributable to the Federation by way of FAC remittances as and when due.
The CFO listed 8 key areas where the Accounts Directorate can help in actualizing the GMD's agenda, to include liquidity management, financing for growth, business process improvement, budget and budgetary controls payment system, cost control / discipline, real-time financing reporting, capacity building, autonomy for SBUs, and maintenance of pension funding. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has announced a trading surplus of 6.33 billion naira for the month of May 2019, a figure which is 13% higher than the 5.60 billion naira surplus posted in the preceding month of April 2019. Details of the report contained in the May 2019 edition of the NNPC Monthly Financial and Operations Report, released recently, attributed the modest rise to the increase in gas and power output, which contrasts with the figure for the preceding month. The report attributed the surplus to the success recorded by the corporation's downstream entities like the NNPC Retail, PPMC, NPSC, and Duke Oil. The report further indicated that within the period, the NNPC recorded a total of $580.32 million in export sale of crude oil and gas, which is 23.39% higher than the previous month's figure. Within the period, a total of 60 pipeline points were vandalized, which represents a remarkable 52% decrease from the 125 points vandalized in April 2019. The news of the re-election of erstwhile Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Dr. Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo, as the Secretary General of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC) swept through the local and international news media, with Nigerians applauding the organization for retaining him for the great job he has done. Barkindo is expected to occupy the position for another 3 years as the chief scribe of the organization. The seeming seamless and genial atmosphere which pervaded the conference hall that fateful day of his re-election belies the vigorous shuttle diplomacy and the high-octane politicking that eventually gave victory to the Nigerian-born OPEC Secretary General. Barkindo's pedigree in the oil and gas industry, especially among OPEC and OPEC Plus fraternity, made him tailor-made for his re-election as the OPEC scribe. He was a one-time Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) and also served as Acting Secretary General of OPEC in 2006. Other positions he held were Deputy Managing Director, Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, Managing Director / Chief Executive Hyson Carlson and International Trading Arm of NNPC, General Manager NNPC London Office, Head International Trade NNPC London Office. The former NNPC GMD served for a record of 15 years on the OPEC Economic Commission Board as Nigeria's national representative. Apart from chairing the OPEC Economic Commission Board, he also chaired the Strategic Production Quota Committee of OPEC. Till date, he is an advocate of climate change initiative and has led Nigeria's technical delegation to the climate change negotiations that produced the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, in Kyoto, Japan, during which he served on the Bureau of UNFCCC at various times.
Good to have you join us on the feedback segment of the program. My name is Julia Auta. The re-election of Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo as the Secretary General of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC) did not come as a surprise to most stakeholders in the oil and gas industry, going by the diplomatic strategic roles he has played in stabilizing global crude oil price. On today's edition, our camera on the street seeks to ask the public their expectations and significance of his re-election as the Secretary General of OPEC.
I think NNPC should continue to support OPEC policy as much as they could, and NNPC should also do whatever they can to be cost efficient, because that we make it possible for them to be able to meet their production expectations from OPEC.
Barkindo's second coming, I would say, will provide an opportunity for consolidation of this declaration of cooperation, which has helped in stabilizing the global market. And whether you like it or not, once you have somebody from Nigeria, you know that Nigeria's interest will be protected.
The decision to cut, to increase production, these are issues that will benefit the country in the long run. Nigeria is a big player, and having one of ours as the Secretary General reminds the other international players in the oil sector that we are not just a mere big player.
The think tank that sits with him to analyze the ideas that he's working on needs to look at a way of improving it. And when I mean improving it, those ideas need to be in such a way that they bring economic activities to Nigeria.
We need to see a lot more reforms in that sector to be able to harness the potentials of the oil and gas industry, local content, and also the provision of more jobs in that area, since it's one area that we're very competitive in Africa.
He's a good representative or a good ambassador for Nigeria and indeed Africa. He would have been able to strengthen that relationship, not just among Western countries, but also within Africa, because we need that unity of sense of purpose if we are to drive our production levels higher.
I would like to see Barkindo being able to forge a better understanding with the OPEC and the OPEC Plus alliance to see how, first of all, we can stabilize what we have, and then see how that can be improved on.
The experience that he has made in the first tenure would really help him to step up higher and raise the bar to ensure that the industry, international oil community market is stable.
Indeed, the reward for hard work is more work. And that's our package on this segment. Please stick around. Hello and thank you for joining us on this informative segment of the program. My name is Abigail Ojobo. Did you know that Malam Mele Kolo Kyari is the 19th Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation? Are you aware that Malam Kyari has pledged to entrench transparency, accountability, and performance excellence across all NNPC operations? The NNPC under Malam Kyari would adopt technology and innovation to refine the corporation's business processes in line with best industry practices. Did you know that the corporation would also use technology to improve efficiency, block leakages, and create desirable outcomes that will strengthen the NNPC brand? Did you also know that the NNPC under Malam Kyari's watch would improve the synergy of teams and commitment to business objectives towards a unified enterprise view? Well, I'm sure you have been informed. Please stay tuned for the rest of the program.
Welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices rose 1% amid Middle East tensions and a big fall in U.S. crude stocks. But gains were capped as weak manufacturing data in Western nations indicated slowing economic growth that could reduce fuel demand. Brent crude futures rose 64 cents to $63.82 per barrel after dropping 1%. U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures was up 51 cents or 0.9% at $56.39 per barrel, having dropped 1.6% the previous session. U.S. crude stocks fell by nearly 11 million barrels last week, the Energy Information Administration reported, well above analyst expectations for a drop of 4 million barrels. In a sign of the supply-demand balance, Brent briefly dipped into contango on Wednesday for the first time since March. Contango is a market structure in which prices for forward deliveries are higher than for prompt ones. Oil prices have also been under pressure from concerns about global economic growth amid growing signs of harm from US-China trade war that has rumbled on over the last year. Saudi Arabia, the world's top oil exporter, urged global oil buyers on Thursday to secure energy shipments passing through the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20% of global supply is transported daily. And that's it on this segment of the program. I am Solomon Yopave.
Well, for those out there, you can always make it on stage. You can always win. Just work hard, focus, and everything will come your way.
That's how the program has been for this week. Thanks for joining us. NNPC wishes you all the best for the week. Thanks for stakeholdership. Keep this date next week. Bye.